Hey everyone, Tony D here with Tony D's Media Podcast. Just a quick one. I'm under a lot of deadlines. Today, the looming war with Iran. It's bad. I'm against it. And here's why. First off, the current reports are that Yemeni drones hit some of these oil tankers scooting around the Middle East, and they're blaming that on either the Iranians or their proxies, which to me makes no sense because you have to look at it this way. Why would the Iranians do that? Like, what would they hope to gain by doing that? You know, they're already under tremendous sanctions and pressure. All that would do is heighten the tensions and give the United States an excuse to go in there and blow the place up, which I would assume if you know you're the weaker opponent, you wouldn't want that to happen. So, and then the idea that the Yemenis did it, well, with drones, where are these guys going to get drones? I mean, I don't see these guys getting drones from their local drone store. It's possible they cobbled a bunch of together because we have been drone striking Yemen for a long time. But I don't really see the advantage to the Yemenis or the Iranians in doing this. This to me sounds like a Gulf of Tonkin kind of situation where we need to gin up a war with Iran, so we either send in some drones to do this ourselves or we get some proxies to do it for us to make it look like, oh, hey, we're being attacked. Now, obviously, we have to go in there. It doesn't look good. It looks like there's plans on the table to send over 100,000 troops, and that would be incredibly bad. However, I am hopeful because Trump has been known to get plans on his desk and just go, no. So he's not afraid to do that. Also, he's about to have a huge meeting during the G20 with Russia and China, and I don't think it's going to be very helpful to that meeting for him to be in the middle of a war with Iran. Additionally, this has been discussed before. Back in the Iraq era, during the Iraq War, they discussed, well, what if we go into Iran too? And most experts agree that if we were to attack Iran, part of the problem with it is that the Iranians are not like the Iraqis. The Iraqis had tanks and they had a few weapons, but the Iraqis, for the most part, didn't really have a solid army. They had a lot of stuff, but their army was relatively weak because everybody was conscripted, and they weren't very loyal to the regime. The Iranians are a different story. They have had decades to build their army back up, and they have decent infrastructure. They have a different kind of society than the Iraqis had. It's more, it was less one dictator like Saddam was. It's more of a group effort. And because things are spread out, they have a better infrastructure. They have missiles they cannot reach the United States, but they can reach Israel. They can reach all our troops in that region. And we're expected to lose at least an aircraft carrier, if not two, during the attack. Not to mention all the lives that will probably be lost. I mean, your choice, if you're the Iranians, if you get invaded, are to launch your missiles or watch them get blown up. So what do you think they're going to do? I mean, they're going to launch them all because, it's the last FU to the people who are going to blow up your country, and the United States would blow them up. It's also going to drive the price of gas through the roof. So we're looking at $5 to $10 like European prices, and that's going to kill any economic gains Trump has created here. I mean, it's just going to kill it. The economy's just going to go. You know, the economy's been stronger, but it's not going to be able to weather something like that. So imagine now you're shipping on Amazon. I mean, right now gas is like $2-3 a gallon. It doubles essentially. Now all your shipping's doubled. I mean, are you going to order stuff? You're going to order a lot less. You're certainly not going to order one item here, one item there. That's going to slow everything down. Anything connected to shipping is immediately going to, it doubles the shipping. So it increases the price. Anything imported, anything that has to be shipped, anything that's not grown in your backyard, the price is going to go up. And when those prices go up, lots of things start to happen. The first thing that happens is sales go down. All right, people have to buy less because things are more expensive. And we're not just talking like nonsense things. We're talking about food, clothing, essentials that people have to buy all the time. So, you know, people are going to start getting laid off. They're certainly not going to hire more people. There's not going to be more money around to build businesses. Everything's going to start to grind to a halt. And, you know, it's not going to start back up anytime soon. If we commit 120,000 troops to Iran, I mean, you're talking a major commitment where we're already overstretched. The United States military is overstretched already, and you're talking a major commitment where people are going to die, where millions and millions and millions of dollars of military equipment is going to be used, missiles are going to be fired, bullets are going to be shot, all those have to be replaced, all the jets and things that need fuel and more ammo, the guys who run them need food and all the stuff they need to operate in the field, all that stuff. It's all going to be funneled in to the military, and you know, it's not going to be funded. It's not going to be here. All those resources are going to be overseas, and they're going to be taking them from here. So I don't know how you feel about Trump or whomever, but you know, a lot of people are calling for John Bolton to be fired. I don't know why Trump hired him in the first place. The theory of Justin Raimondo over at AntiWar.com was, his theory was he hired Bolton and a couple of neocons because his plan was to let them try to overthrow Venezuela, and failed. Now, so far, he's kind of called that correctly, because it looks like the whole Venezuelan, you know, fiasco from the neocons' perspective has failed. They failed to start a war there. They failed, you know, they're kind of embarrassed by it. But this Iranian thing looks like it could happen if Trump's willing to pull the trigger. The problem is he has talked about pulling the trigger on Iran, but as we all know, Trump is a liar. So it is possible that that was all bluster in order to get elected, in order to placate the neocons, and he's just going to go, no. I hope that's the case. I hope he just keeps putting it off, and this is all just a big threat in order to make some sort of move here. Because if we go into Iran, I think it's going to be a bad situation for the Trump administration. And it's definitely going to be a bad situation for the anti-war left. I mean, they're suddenly going to rediscover their anti-war roots and suddenly be like, oh, we can't attack Iran, after they let, you know, Obama run amok in the Middle East for eight straight years. It's going to sound pretty hollow and partisan. You know, for those of us who've always been anti-war, it was pretty sickening to watch the transformation in 2008 when Obama got elected, and the anti-war movement just kind of said, well, we're all done. So if you're watching this video and you give a crap please call your senator, call your representative, call the White House, and be polite and say you're anti-war, say you're against going to war for Iran, because it does matter. They do. Now, they're not going to listen to each individual caller, but they do keep records of the calls. And when lots of people call, and the switchboard is flooded with calls saying, hey, don't do this, it does impact policy. When Obama was considering to bomb Syria, people called, and he purposely threw it to the Congress because he knew the Congress wouldn't approve it, and he ended up not bombing Syria. So I think Trump, as a president, is way more aware of that kind of pressure. So whether or not he's actually planning to invade Iran, you need to put the pressure on him. Whether you're a Trump supporter or a Trump hater, you need to push your representatives in the correct direction. If you believe in war with Iran, I don't know why you believe that. I don't see any gain for us, especially in the immediate. It looks like you're basically asking for a recession of huge magnitude. And Trump will be reelected regardless of that, because guess what? When a president's at war, his numbers go up. The media will rally behind him. The Democrats will be forced to rally behind him. And good luck trying to outwar Trump on the campaign trail. Who's going to be able to do that? You're going to tell me Biden's going to stand up and say, well, I would be even worse against Iran if he's in the middle of a war? No. No, he won't. And even though I think it will turn a lot of his supporters away, I think a lot of the people who hate Trump now will suddenly become his supporters. Will suddenly become the people who jump the aisle to vote for. So even if you don't support Trump, you really should think long and hard about whether or not you support this kind of war. And I say, call Washington and let them know. One YouTuber had the great idea of putting the number of the White House and Congress in your phone. So whenever something like this happens, you can, boom, call the White House immediately. I have it in my phone, and if I remember, I'm going to put the number for the White House on this video. So please call if you give a crap. And hopefully we won't have this war with Iran. Okay, so that's the media podcast for this week. I gotta get back to writing. I'm so behind. My name is Tony D. You can check me out on Patreon. You can check me out at the Web Comic Factory, where we do the anti-war comic. And you could also check me out at Superfrat. Thanks for listening. See you next time.